So, what can you do with a major or minor in sociology? Regardless of whether it is a BA, a BS, or a graduate degree in sociology, courses in these programs engage students in opportunity to think critically about a topic or issue, to gain competence in communications and reasoning skills, and to master scientific methods of inquiry. These courses create opportunities for students to acquire strong written and oral communication skills. They also help them become more tolerant and open towards different cultures, value systems, and viewpoints. Regardless of where the degree was acquired, it offers dedicated training in social inequality, social change, cultural awareness, crime and justice, gender and sexuality, community development or outreach, leadership, project planning, demography, and various qualitative and quantitative research methods. Because of that, graduates gain critical skills for succeeding in today's workplace, whether it is the government, NGOs, businesses, and other types of civic organizations. Graduates from the bachelor's, master's, and PhD program often serve as regional planners for various government agencies, and some also embark on careers involving human resource management, marketing, and business development. Most of the work involves developing evidence-based arguments, evaluating programs research, data analysis, serving as liaisons to various entities, and making recommendations to various government and business entities. Because of your understanding in subcultures, we learn about subcultures in our undergraduate and graduate texts. So because of that, sociologists can also work in marketing and advertising firms. And we all know that to promote Arizona green tea, the subculture living in different parts of the US or Canada who may be more inclined to drink green tea may be very different from the subcultures living in Korea who may be interested in consuming Korean ginseng tea. So because of that, the advertising strategies for Korean ginseng in Korea is vastly different from the advertising strategy to promote or to market green tea in various parts of the US. And when urgent care, they try to promote this new business model to the general public, they tend to focus on families. We all know family or families can be considered another subculture. So they tend to focus more on the family-oriented culture of a different location when they try to sell this new urgent care business concept. The same thing can be said for cars. We know there are different vehicles to cater for the different needs for the different segments of population within the same society. And for the high-end vehicles, advertisers, marketers, they tend to focus on the subcultures of a specific segments of population in that society when they promote all these high-end vehicles like Mercedes, Audis, BMWs, and so on. And to advertise SUVs, marketers, advertisers, they tend to focus on the more family-oriented cultures in another society or in the same society, just to promote the SUVs and to market sports vehicles. Yet again, they focus on another distinct and unique subcultures of certain segments of population living in that particular society. As I mentioned earlier, these programs create opportunities for students to acquire strong written and oral communication skills. Students also acquire a solid and strong training in various qualitative and quantitative research methods. Students also learn how to write a proper literature review through these sociology programs. And these skills are very valuable to various consulting firms. And because of that, several consulting firms often hire sociology graduates. Below are a list of consulting firms in the US that normally hires sociology graduates. And one more point. The skills in qualitative and quantitative research methods gained through the different sociology programs enable employees to evaluate the different programs and projects for the consulting firm. I forgot to mention that consulting firms hire a lot of technical editors too. That is because consulting firms, they bid for a lot of contracts, which requires a lot of proposal writing. And because of that, in order to win all these contracts, all these proposals, they have to be easily readable or understandable. So they hire a lot of technical editors to make sure that their proposals are professionally done. The same thing can be said for companies. Their reports or other important documents have to be professionally done. And if you have a flair for writing, then maybe you can market yourself as a technical editor, and you don't need to go to graduate school to become a technical editor for a company or just for any organization. And if you have taken a course in demography, or if you have some understanding of demography or population study, like what characteristics of people tends to live in a given area, then maybe you can also apply for positions like product manager, positions in marketing and business development, or even user experience researcher in any company. I used to work as a statistician at an urgent care company before I become a professor. And one of my main responsibility, aside from statistical analysis, would be to do GIS analysis to help the marketing people, the senior management on site locations, on where to best locate a new branch. And what we found is that locations that's more appealing to urgent cares are locations, areas with families, families with teenage children, families with young children, or areas with quite a substantial number of elderly population. This is because we all know the nature of urgent care. People go to urgent care when they have a mishap or even an emergency, and they want services to be rendered to them instantaneously. So we all know families with children, teenagers especially, they play sports. And because of that, they are prone to have mishaps. So, based on our analysis or GIS analysis, the branches of my previous urgent care tends to do quite well if they are located in areas with a lot of families or families with young children, families with teenagers. And research has also confirmed that urgent cares do not do very well in areas that are very wealthy, like the Beverly Hills, where people have personal doctors visiting their homes. So they are less inclined to drive to urgent cares. That's a no-brainer. And if you are familiar with the different demographic or socio-economic characteristics of different segments of the population in a given area, and you figure out what their lifestyle is like, and how a company can customize or modify certain aspects of a given service or product to that segment of the population, then you have another career avenue. Maybe you can be hired as a product manager. You can be hired by the company in their marketing or business development division. Or because of your knowledge in demography, you have some understanding about the distinctive characteristics of different segments of the population in the same or in different areas. You know what they like, you know what they don't like. You know their age and population structure. You know their taste for certain products or their preference for certain aspect of a given product. You can also market yourself as a user experience researcher. And if you have an advanced degree in sociology, like a master's in sociology, an MA or MS, it doesn't matter, or a PhD, this means that you have more training in various qualitative and quantitative methods. Because of that, you can also market yourself as a statistician, a data analyst, or a data scientist in any corporation. So, as we can see, sociologists have many roles to play in a given corporation, consulting firms included. And right after my brief stint at the urgent care, I moved to become a statistician at a consulting firm in Maryland. So as we can see, the opportunities are endless. So, like the consulting firms, sometimes government agencies, they do require employees with very good oral and written communication skills. And sometimes government agencies, they produce a lot of reports or white papers. Because of that, they need people or employees who know how to do literature review. And because of that, many government agencies, they hire a lot of sociology graduates too. And with your training in research methods, be it quantitative or qualitative, you can help out with program evaluation at the government agency, or you can do evidence-based research for that agency, or you can even do policy analysis for the government agency. So, as we can see, various government agencies with their different foci, whether it's health, education, labor, human services, substance use or substance abuse, housing, they require a lot of people with skills in sociology because of their critical thinking and communication skills and their skills in scientific inquiry. And sometimes government agencies, like what I just said, they produce a lot of reports And because of that, they hire a lot of technical editors to make their reports look good and professional. The same skill sets valued by companies, including consulting firms, government agencies, are also highly valued by non-profits or other civic organizations. Your writing skills, your critical thinking skills, your skills in different research methods. And sometimes some of these non-profits or civic agencies, maybe they produce reports too, or sometimes they have to write a grant to fund certain programs or projects. And because of that, they want their proposal to be coherent and professionally done, so that the funders or potential funders can understand the content of the proposals. So because of that, all these non-profit and civic organizations, they require a lot of technical editors too. And like what I just said, for technical editing jobs, sometimes the employee do not need to have a graduate degree. And sometimes these organizations, they also require people with statistics skills, skills in qualitative research. So, because of that, sociology majors or people with graduate degrees in sociology have many roles to play in these organizations. The same skill sets valued by corporations, consulting firms included, the government, non-profits, are also the same skill sets valued by different academic institutes or different research centers within different universities. And here are some of them. Your ability to crunch data, your statistical aptitude, your aptitude in ethnographic research, your ability to conduct focus group studies, your ability to do in-depth interviews. These are all skills highly valued by the different research institutes in different universities. So because of that, sociology majors have many roles to play in these different academic institutes. They can market themselves as copy editors, technical writers, which may or may not require a graduate degree if they have a flair for writing. And I forgot to mention that usually in the eyes of the corporations or the government or non-profits, a good technical editor is someone who can read a document, read between the lines, try to understand or decipher the writer's train of thought without the writer telling them, and try to make edits accordingly. That's what they mean by a good technical editor. A degree in sociology also opens up careers in public media. Public radio stations in various states in the US do provide career opportunities for sociologists in various capacities. Here are some of the job titles for people with degrees in sociology. The most common title are research associate, research assistant, research specialist, survey researcher, consultant, executive director or VP in various companies, consulting firms included, in different government agencies. And sometimes sociology graduates also hold the title of program associate, program evaluator, or performance analyst. For people like this, they often use their skills in research methods to do program evaluation, performance analysis, policy analysis, or evidence-based research. And oftentimes, if a research assistant or a research associate works hard, plays his or her cards correctly, and if he or she also happens to be lucky, sometimes that person may be promoted to become a consultant, an executive director, or some sort of a VP in a company. And many people with undergrads in sociology, they move on to law school and eventually become attorney or lawyer. And like what I say several times, sometimes people with degrees in sociology, if they write well, if they like to write, they market themselves as technical editors or writers in various organizations. And oftentimes, technical editors and writers pay well. And sometimes their pay is even higher than those with graduate degrees in sociology. If they can get into people's train of thought, if they can read between the lines in different documents and do their job well. And many people with degrees in sociology, they also go into education. They become teachers, school counselor, school psychologist, student services coordinator, academic success coordinator, enrollment managers, or because of their training in social survey, in research methods. So, they have some familiarity with IRB, informed consent, what constitutes an ethical research, how to minimize harms to participants. And because of that, sometimes these sociology graduates are also being hired as IRB coordinator in an organization. And because students learn about interpersonal relationship, group dynamics in their classes, and if they can interact well with people, and if they also happen to be a people person, sometimes they market themselves as HR personnel, talent manager. And in these roles, in the HR or in talent management, sometimes these individuals, they serve as liaison among different internal and external entities within the same organizations. And if that person has some understanding of demography, they know the different people that live within a given area and their different characteristics, their different demographic and socio-economic characteristics. They can also market themselves as marketing and business development associate or consumer insights associate. And if they play their cards correctly, sometimes they are promoted to Director of Customer Success. Or some of these individuals market themselves as marketing executive, given their knowledge in demography, or product managers, sales manager. They know the different priorities, the different preference for different aspects of the same product among different segments of the population. And if they also happen to be internet or tech savvy, sometimes these individuals become digital marketing consultants or user experience researcher in a given company. And if these individuals, if they choose to go to grad school, they get their MA in sociology or MS in sociology, or MA or MS in something else, statistics, public administration, public policy, or in another research methods field, or if they get their doctorates, Sometimes these individuals are hired as data analysts, statistician, or data scientists in a given organization. And given their skills in research methods, be it quantitative or qualitative, sometimes these individuals can be hired as policy analysts, policy experts, policy managers, public opinion analysts, or policy counsels in different companies, in different non-profit organizations, in different academic institutions. And if they have some understanding in community development, in rural development, sometimes these graduates, they market themselves as city planner, urban developers, or they do work related to rural development. Or sometimes they work for local or regional government as community support specialists or business analysts. And given their interpersonal skills, some of these individuals also work as events operations managers in various organizations like the corporations or the government, or even in academic institutions. If they have good strategic management, they are very organized. So sometimes the government, the company, or even academia hire these individuals to plan events for them. And if you think that you are a very organized person, you can also get more training or knowledge in project management. You can learn it on your own, or you can do it through different certifications, or get another advanced degree in project management. Then you'll be hired as a project support associate, or a project coordinator, or a project manager, or eventually a project director. And if you are certified, sometimes your title would be certified PMP. And if you are internet or tech savvy, sometimes you may be hired by a company or any organization as an engagement editor or digital content manager. If you have a good eye, sometimes you can comment on the websites of these organizations and propose changes to make it better. So because of that, you can market yourself as engagement editor or digital content managers in these organizations. And if you like to interact with people, and if you like to sell a concept or an idea, if you like to advocate for a specific noble cause, you can also market yourself as the director of development, director of major gifts, director of alumni relations, philanthropic advisor, fundraiser for different academic institutions or non-profits. And sometimes we know in academia or even in non-profits or any civic organizations, sometimes people need to write grants to get certain programs or projects going. And it's a no-brainer. We all know that some sociology graduates, they go on to nursing school. They go on to become occupational therapists. They go on to become physician assistants, or some go on to become MDs, and some have dual doctorates, an MD and a PhD in medicine and sociology. And it's another no-brainer. Sociology also prepares people for different careers related to criminal justice. So, if you take Soc 237 and later SOS 370 and your required statistics course very seriously, it opens another career option.